Lesson 57, Finding the Least Common Multiple. The least common multiple, otherwise known as LCM, that's I'm sure what you talked about it as whenever you were in elementary school, is the least number that is evenly divisible by each of the numbers in a set of numbers. Okay, so that means that it is the smallest number that both of the numbers or all three of the numbers, however many numbers that we're talking about, will all divide into it evenly. Okay, so they give us an example of finding the LCM of 8 and 12. Oops, sorry. What's going on here? There. Of 8 and 12. And what they've done is they've taken the prime factorization of 8, which is 2 times 2 times 2. That's one that you should know off the top of your head. If you don't, we can always factor tree it. 4 times 2. 2 is a prime. 4 is not. 2 times 2. So that's where they got 2 times 2 times 2. And then 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. If you don't know that, you can find it the exact same way. Now, to find the least common multiple, what they do is we have 2's here, we have 2's and a 3 here. So 2's and 3's are the only things that we have. Those are the only prime numbers that we're dealing with. So we're going to take the largest group of each one of those. So with the 8, I have a group of 3 2's, and with the 12 I have a group of 2 2's. So the bigger group is the group of 3. That's the group that I'm going to take. And then I have no 3's and 1 3. Well, 1 3 is obviously the biggest group. So I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, which gets me 24. That's how we find our LCM. So we're going to start each of these the same way, and that's going to be by writing the prime factorization. So 35, we will say, splits into 5 times 7. Both of those are prime. 49 splits into 7 times 7. Both of those are prime. So I'm going to list it out. 35 is 5 times 7, and 49 is 7 times 7. So I have 5 times 7 and 7 times 7. I am dealing with 5's and 7's. So I'm going to take the biggest group of each for my LCM, or my least common multiple. So I have 1 5 here, no 5's here. My 1 5 is going to be the most. Okay, 1 5 is more than no 5's. So I'm going to include that with my LCM. Then I have 1 7 here and 2 7's here. Well, I want the largest group, so I want the group of 2 7's. Okay, so I have 7 times 7. So then I know that this was already 49, which you can always punch this into your calculator. But 49 times 5, or not 40, yeah, 49 times 5 gives us an LCM of 245. Okay, that's the smallest number that both of these will divide into evenly. On B, we're going to do the exact same thing. 7 is a prime, so 7 is just going to be 7. 8 we talked about on the very first example of being 2 times 2 times 2. And on 13, well, 13 is a prime, so it's just going to be 13. Whenever I don't have any that are the same, okay, I have a 7 here, a 2's here, 13 here, I just include all of those. So my LCM, I'm going to take the most 2's, which was those 3, most 7's, and the most 13's, which means I'm just taking 7 times 8 times 13, and that gets me 728. Final answer. Alright, now we get to do the more fun stuff. Alright, so the least common multiple of 6x squared y to the third and 9x to the fourth y to the fourth. So 6 splits into 2 times 3, those are both primes. 9 splits into 3 times 3, those are both primes. So I'm going to list them out. 6x squared y to the third is the same as saying 2 times 3. X squared I could write as x times x. Y to the third I could write as y times y times y. And then I have 9x to the fourth. Y to the fourth is equal to 3 times 3. X to the fourth is the same as saying x times x times x times x. y to the fourth is the same as saying y times y times y times y. Okay, so my LCM, I'm going to take the biggest group of each one. So I have a 2 here, no 2's here. I'm taking this 2. So I'll include it. I have 1 3 here, 2 3's here. 2 3's is more than 1 3, so I'm going to include those. 2x is here, 4x is here. I'm taking the 4, which I'm just going to write as x to the fourth. You don't have to list these out every time. I'm just doing it right now to show you the process. Okay, then I have y to the third, y to the fourth. 4 y's is more, so y to the fourth. And so 2 times 3 is 6, times 3 is 18, x to the fourth, y to the fourth. Final answer. Find the LCM of 8a squared b to the third, 12b squared c, and 18a to the third b c cubed. Alright, so I'm going to find the prime factorization of 8. So 4 times 2, and then that's 2 times 2. So 8a squared b to the third is the same as saying 2 times 2 times 2. And I'm just going to write a squared b to the third instead of listing all those out. 12 splits into 4 times 3. 4 is 2 and 2. So I'm going to write 12, oops, it's not a, it's b. B squared c is equal to 2 times 2 times 3, b squared times c. Okay, and the last one, 18, splits into 2 and 9, and that's 3 and 3. So I have 18 is, whoops, 18 a to the third, b, c to the third, and that's equal to 2 times 3 times 3 times a to the third times b times c to the third. So the least common multiple, you can drag this down now, the LCM, how did I change colors? Okay, the LCM, I need the most 2's, which is going to be here. The most 3's, so I have 1 3 and 2 3's, so I'm going to take the 2 3's, and then I went back to purple. How did that happen? I have a squared, no a, and a to the third. A to the third is what I want. B to the third, b to the second, b to the first, so I want b to the third. C and c to the third, I want c to the third. So I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And then I have times a to the third times b to the third times c to the third. So I know that these 3 get me 8, these 2 will get me 9, so 8 times 9 is 72, a to the third, b to the third, c to the third. Final answer. Alright. On these, we're finding the least common multiple of binomials. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do in order to figure these out is we have to figure out if we can factor. So, can I factor anything out of 2m minus 3? Well, I can't divide anything evenly out of these two numbers, and I don't have an m in both, so this is just going to be as it is. It's not going to change. That's a prime. Okay. On this one, I have 5m plus 7. I can't divide a number out of both of those because those are both primes, and I don't have an m in both, so this one is also prime. And we had the example earlier where we had, I think it was 7, 8, and 13, and whenever we couldn't divide anything out, we couldn't factor it, then we just multiplied them together. So it's just going to be 2m minus 3 times 5m plus 7. And we don't have to FOIL that, we just leave it as it is. So on B, we're going to do the same thing. Can I factor anything out of 15p squared minus 5p? Well, I hope that you recognize we can divide a 5 out of both, and we can take a p out of both. So I'm going to take out 5p, which is going to leave me with 15 divided by 5 is 3. P squared divided by p is p, minus 5 divided by 5 is 1. P divided by p is 1, so we just close that up. So I have 5p times the quantity of 3p minus 1. Same thing here. What can I divide out of both? Well, I hope you can see very quickly I can take a 2, but I'm going to take out the greatest factor that I can, which is going to be 8. So I'm going to take out 8. I don't have a p in both, so I can't take p. 24 divided by 8 is 3. P stays. Minus 8 divided by 8 is 1. So I can see my factors here are 5p, this whole quantity, 8, and the same whole quantity.
This announcement is for 7th and 8th grade teachers. If you need your new rosters for this quarter, please come to the office and pick them up. Thank you. Or send a student to have them picked up.
So I could list this out further, and I could write it as 5 times p times 3p minus 1. And I could list this one out. This has to break down to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3p minus 1. Okay, so I have to take the most 2's, which are these 2's, most 5's. I need the most p's, which is this, and then this part is the exact same, so I just take one of them. It does not matter which one. So the least common multiple is 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times p. I don't know what is going on with my marker here. And then times 3p minus 1. So this was 8. Okay, we'll call that 8 times 5 is 40. P times 3p minus 1. Final answer. I want you to try C on your own paper. So go ahead and do that, and we'll do it together. Pause, please. What can I divide out of both of these? Well, I hope you recognize that we could take a 15 out. And when I take out a 15, 45 divided by 15 is 3. Whoops, that's an h, pretend it looks like 1, squared, plus 30 divided by 15 is 2. Then on this one, I hope that you recognize that we could take an 11 and an h squared. Okay, which means that 33 divided by 11, that's 3. H to the 4th divided by h squared is h squared, plus 22 divided by 11 is 2. H squared divided by h squared is 1, so we don't have to show that. Okay, 15 would have split into 3 times 5, but 11 is prime, so again we're just going to have all of these together. So it's going to be 15 times 11 times h squared, and then times that quantity of 3h squared plus 2. Okay, so 15 times 11 gives me 165 h squared times 3h squared plus 2. Final answer for my LCM. Okay, it says a math test is given every 5 days, a history test is given every 6 days, and a science test is given every 12 days. How many days into the school year will all 3 tests be given on the same day? This is the type of problem that you will see one of these on your EOC, I'm certain of it. You've probably seen them on your math test before, on your MAP test before, but you probably didn't know how to solve them. This is just an LCM problem. When you see this, you're just finding LCM. Okay, so we're going to have 5, which is just 5. 6 breaks into 2 times 3. You can factor treat if you need to. 12 splits into 2 times 2 times 3. Now, these are all ones that we've talked about, so that's why I didn't factor treat. If you don't remember them, factor treat by all means. So I'm going to take the most 2's. The most 2's are these two. The most 3's, I have 1 3 and 1 3. It doesn't matter which one I take, I just take one of them. And I have 1 5, so I take it. So I have 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. We knew that this was 12, and 12 times 5 gets me 60. Okay, so it'll be on the 60th day, all 3 tests will be the same day. And that's all I have for you. I hope that you've taken good notes, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.